Okay, this is a reading for Cancer. I am gonna look at who you were in a past life, okay? It's a tarot deck called Uncover Your Past Lives. So it's an oracle deck, Uncover Your Past Lives, and it is by Mandy Peterson, aka Mystic Mandy. Okay, and what she wanted to do was create a deck where you could understand why you have certain assuasions to particular people or places or things, certain subjects, topics, why do certain things fascinate you so much? Maybe something happened in a previous life. Why do you have phobias? Where does that stem from? Some people believe that, phobias are, carried genetically in DNA. In fact, I think there is proof towards that. And in terms of, putting religion aside on a spiritual basis, in tarot, many religions do believe in reincarnation, but in tarot, when someone passes away, their human body, ceases to exist, but they're just in the ether, like the same as the rest of us, like we're all one and we're all of the universe, so they never leave you. And it's things like, if you meet someone, they can be a family friend or a lover, but you feel like you've always known them. And like you haven't, like you've just met them, but you feel like you've known them like your entire life. You feel so comfortable with them, you just click. Well, in tarot we believe that, people are for a reason, a season, or for a lifetime, that you've been brought into one another's paths. It's divinely orchestrated, and it's because often you have a soul contract that you agreed to in the 5D. So in the 3D, in your human form, circumstances bring you together and you learn from one another. There's a few examples. So a toxic karmic would teach you, if you're like an empath, you tend to attract people who are quite toxic, and it encourages you and teaches you to draw, healthy boundaries around yourself. And I wouldn't say change, but I'd say draw boundaries, Twin flames, you trigger healing in one another. You each have some kind of trauma that can be from a previous life, or you could be soulmates, a soulmate connection. Soulmates don't have to be forever, but again, even if it doesn't last forever, you come into each other's lives because one of you is about to benefit from the other person, like, show them a different way of seeing the world, with everything that makes you special and unique. Yeah, it's very much, like, in many religions, to be honest, the Chinese religions believe that you are a spiritual being having a human experience, and that you live your human life to be a higher being afterwards. And in tarot we believe that spirit guides and angels are, people that have lived their life, and they're incredibly knowledgeable from everything they've experienced, and so on and so forth. Okay, so this is something that is for everyone. I do want to do a trigger warning, so it covers all kinds of topics. If we're going to understand, like, why you might have, a phobia, or why you might, have some kind of, like, avoidance of something, or, you tend to avoid a certain type of person or a place or a thing. Maybe it's trauma from a past life. Maybe you're not traumatised and you're just drawn to certain people, places or things, or you're very passionate about a particular subject, fanatical about it, and you don't really know why. So anyway, let's get on with it. But just in case you have experienced any trauma, this is uncensored, okay, so it covers kinds of trauma. So, you know, maybe it's not for you if you think that something could trigger you, okay? Right, let's get on with it then. So for you, Cancer, I'll just explain that on one side of the card it's unrelated to what's on the opposite side, okay? So that's more like smaller details, intricacies, and this kind of side is like, you know, a basic like who you were. So I'll ask Spirit to pull out. Let's give them a shuffle. I'll ask Spirit to pull out a couple of cards for like who you were, and then a couple of cards for details. Okay. Okay. Spirit, who was Cancer in a previous life? Okay, so it landed that way with the sword. We've got you could have been someone with a lot of authority or notoriety, someone famous. It's the sword and the stone, so someone powerful. There may have been an abuse of power or a loss of power. Often, you know, swords are associated with, you know, battles being won, but not the war. Yeah, so some kind of drama. Okay, can you give me another one, please, Spirit? You could have been given recognition for something, okay, like a knighthood or something. Right, it landed this way up, so I'm going to take the details on this side. We've got exile, trauma due to exile, so you were told to leave the country or, you know, the army or whatever you belonged to, a city. We've got esoteric for faith, arranged marriage. Your love was an arranged marriage. You're an older woman from the Middle Bronze Age. The lesson that you learnt was self-expression. Your death was by natural disaster. And the location that I'm getting is Central or South America. Okay, I've got some more details. Classical antiquity, leadership. Oh my god, look at this. So you had death by natural disaster, and you had fire, which that's obviously natural. You got a location in Northern Europe. There was a trauma which caused physical limitations. We've got agnostic or atheist for faith. Domestic abuse. In terms of love, you were with someone that abused you. Identity, you had siblings. Okay, so you're an older woman in a position of authority with siblings in either Northern Europe or Central or South America. You could have been agnostic or atheist. What is esoteric? Can someone comment that below? Esoteric. The lesson you learned was leadership and self-expression. You could have been from the Middle Bronze Age or Antiquity, Classical period. Wow, that's cool. It's making me think of like Joan of Arc or someone like that. You could be someone, you know, who feels drawn to management, or someone who has the say over, what am I trying to say? You know, like, someone who's like the leader of a council or a member of parliament, you know, like for local office or national office. You could be someone who works in the military. You could be someone who has become a firefighter, or has a phobia of fire. You could be someone who is really fascinated by, you know, antiquities. You could be someone who absolutely adores, you know, South America, Central America, and you don't really know why because you don't have family from there. You could be someone who fights for fairness and justice. Someone who like really strongly is against arranged marriage. You could be someone who, okay, if you're young, then you're not in a position of leadership and you don't see yourself being in a position of leadership, but that might be your lesson to learn in this life. Your lesson might be self-expression, speaking up for others, you know, like being an advocate for certain groups of people or individuals. You might feel really connected to, like, you're like, I love antiquities, like Roman antiquities. I feel like, you know, deeply anthropological when I see, you know, things from the past, like artefacts. And I love natural materials like copper. Jewellery that is in the style of, you know, what people would have worn in the past, like beautiful necklaces and rings. And I have no idea why. And I feel like that about the Mediterranean. This is Northern Europe, so this is, you know, that's making me think of like yeah, it's making me think of like Mesopotamia and like the Greeks, the Romans. It's kind of cool. Make sure you draw boundaries with others, because we've got domestic abuse with love. I'm not saying that would happen to you, but you know, your lesson was leadership. Your lesson that you learned in your past life was leadership and self-expression. And this suggests someone who wore, you know, chainmail, like that had a sword. And we're talking about that time period where, you know, women did, if they were in leadership and in power, they did go and fight. They would lead an army. You know, that's very, very cool. I hope you enjoyed this reading. I hope none of it triggered you. It does cover sensitive topics. At the end of the day, it is a tarot deck and it's not predictive. It's trying to explain to you what you might have experienced in a past life. Okay, so this is not predictive whatsoever, and none of it informs, you know, anything that's going to happen to you or anything like that. It's maybe just very loosely, you know, that if you're drawn to certain objects or you avoid certain places or people or circumstances and you have no idea why, it's like, what would you call it? Like, it's almost like muscle memory. That's not really the right word, but it's like latent, suppressed kind of memories, you know? So something that is, you know, nowhere near you. So I hope none of that worries you or anything like that, but that seems like someone who should be very proud of themselves, actually. Right, don't forget to give me a like. If you like this kind of reading, if you want quite alternative readings like this, as opposed to, you know, just your bog standard weekly love reading, give me a like so I know that you enjoyed the content. And if you think of any alternative stories that there could be within that, write them below. What was it that I wasn't sure? Esoteric. Esoteric. I'm going to look that. I've got a few things to look up from these cards. Pantheism, I need to look up, and another one that was on another. What was it? Began with H. I've got a lot of homework to do from it. I like these cards because it means I'm learning, and if I'm learning, I can broaden my mind and broaden my horizons, and, you know more. I'd love to know more. Does that make sense? I hate not knowing things. I love finding out. That's what makes me a good geography teacher. Alright then, so yeah, TikTok channel's growing well, starting to get new subscribers on YouTube. Don't forget to watch me on YouTube because you can multitask and play it on the TV. You can see the cards a lot bigger. It won't time out, won't drain your battery. Of course, like, TikTok's great and YouTube, because, you know, when I love to watch tarot, like on my way home from work, some people listen to music, but I'll watch tarot readings. You know, like, or if you commute or something, it's like a really cool way to pass the time. But yeah, if you want to multitask or save your phone battery, and, you know, YouTube is where I discovered tarot. So I'm like eternally grateful. I'm very, very loyal to YouTube. And there's so many fantastic tarot readers, so do get on there. I think I've pinned my YouTube channel to the top, so yeah, come and find me on there and support my growth, because I think it's a bit harder, it's a bit slower building up YouTube, but yeah, I almost gave up, and then on Lionsgate I asked my spirit guides for help, and I literally had 2 new subscribers the next day and loads of views. It was dead weird because nothing had happened with the channel. Like, I'd been posting, but I hadn't really had any like you know, like progression from it, like in like 2 months since I started it. So someone's watching over me up there. Alright, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.